Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This video will cover my experience ordering from Royal Tiger Imports. This is long overdue. I waited about 2 months since ordering because I ordered 9 rifles, and of the 9 rifles that I received, a number of them required extensive work, parts replacement, and things of that nature. As such, I wanted to give a long period of time to wait before making the video to fully make sure that I had all my ducks in a row and that my receipts were in order before I decided to make my final judgment on whether or not you, as a collector of surplus firearms, should also order from Royal Tiger Imports. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Their system of grading rifles, I will say right at the very beginning, completely arbitrary. There is, in my opinion, no discernible difference between C, B, and whatever they call it, like shooter grade, or it's not even shooter grade, it's like called original condition. Whatever that means. Did they just pull it out of a box and throw around in it and wipe it down and it's original grade? I don't know what that means. I don't think they know what that means. Regardless, I ordered 7 number 1 Mark III rifles, one of which was a C grade, the other 6 were B grade, and I ordered 2 number 4 Mark I complete rifles that I was able to special request on there. I ordered right when they dropped, and so I was hoping to get lucky with what I requested. So I'll just give you guys an update from top to bottom. So the very first order of rifles I ordered January 18th. I ordered 2 number 1 Mark IIIs, and I ordered 1 number 1 Mark III C grade. And then I ordered shortly thereafter the additional number 1 Mark IIIs. All were B grade and all came without the bolts. And then about a week or 2 after that, I followed up with my final order for the number 4 Mark Is for, again, a total of 9 rifles. And this is where things will start to get a little bit interesting. So with Royal Tiger Imports, they are very well known for a lack of communication, a lack of transparency, and when you order, you could get your rifles within a matter of weeks. It could take 6 months. I've seen in the Reddit forums, some people have still been waiting for their rifles that they've ordered. Some people ordered before the factory moved, which I had the misfortune of ordering right during the move, which they did not disclose they were in the process of moving. And they sent out an email that said that they were thankful to all the people that have ordered from them and they can't wait to start shipping their orders, and they are currently still way behind the 8 ball, and the 2 to 4 week period that I was quoted when I first ordered my rifles was in no way, shape, or form accurate, as I had already been waiting 4 weeks, and I received that email that said that they had been in the process of moving to a new warehouse, and as such they had not fulfilled their orders yet. So I'm going to call that strike 1 for transparency. If you are going to be delaying your order shipments, you need to let your customers know. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in both inventory costs as well as orders. And when people are trusting you with their money, we expect a little bit more transparency. At least I do. Not necessarily that I had a problem waiting. I just would have liked to know up front that it was more like 8 to 9 weeks that I would have been waiting, and that the 2 to 4 week window was just complete nonsense. So fast forward to when I actually started receiving the rifles, which I actually received the rifles in basically late February, at the very end of February, about 8-ish weeks after I'd ordered. I ordered them all into the same local FFL dealer, and what I ended up receiving was a mixed bag, to be honest with you. The B grades, again, completely deceptive, and there's just no real way of knowing what you're going to get. So I have a couple examples out on the bench right here to just kind of give you an idea. This one right here is going to be the most complete rifle that I was able to restore. The wood is in exceptional condition. It was all there. The metal pieces were all there, and everything fit together after it was finished extremely well. It was missing the stock disc, and it did not have the bolt, but the rifling was salvageable. And after doing a muzzle test with a 150 grain, it did fit and worked just fine. I had a bolt from another one that I ended up selling that I put in this, and it did cycle just fine. So this one I would consider to be a win. It didn't come with a safety lever, and there is a crack in this front barrel shroud right here, But it's all fixable, it's all doable, and it did come with a magazine as well. I just don't have one in the gun right now. But I'm going to say up front, the magazines that I received were complete garbage. Of the 7 rifles that I received of the #1 Mark IIIs, ironically, the best rifle in terms of the condition at shipment was the C grade. The receiver itself was a 1914 Iraqi model, and I believe it was a 1914. And it was in great shape. It had been rebarreled, and the magazine that it came with slipped in and out perfectly fine. And after I polished it and I threw it in my electrolysis tank and I reblued it, it came out great. Unfortunately, it did keyhole, but it was a salvageable gun. Now, I don't have any examples of these guns firing. I just haven't had time to get out to the range yet, but I wanted to move on to some of the other rifles. So this one I'm currently in the process of restoring. This is a #1 Mark III, one of the ones that I received. This one is a 1950, or excuse me, a 1939. It's a #3, not a #3 star. And it has good bright rifling. It's got good bluing. Some of it's going to need to be reblued, but it's a BSA. It's all there. The wood was in salvageable condition. The ears were still intact. I have stripped this. As you can see, the stock completely stripped, and in the process of getting to the point where I can start to refinish it. I have not done that yet. I may make a video about that if people are interested. The one downside is this forward handguard is completely cracked. I will try to fix this if I can, but it's in pretty sad shape. The stock came in good condition as well. There's a couple of pieces that were patched in at some point, which I can fix. The stock disc was missing as well, but other than that, I would consider this to be a candidate for a shooter. Now, here's where things get negative. Of those, basically only 4 were salvageable from the 7 I ordered, and this is an example of what one of the other ones came like. It is horribly pitted and rusted, and it is so shot out that when I look down the barrel, there's basically no rifling, and it completely failed a muzzle test. It's just in very sad shape. It's a 1915. The wood we were able to salvage to put on one of these other rifles that we were able to save, as some of the wood that we got was cracked or just unsalvageable. And we did end up getting another one that was completely shot out that we stripped for parts as well. This one is in a little bit better condition, but still unfortunately shot out, and will not be making its debut at the range ever again, which is unfortunate. But for the price I paid, about $200 per rifle, I was able to get enough out of these other 2 rifles, between wood that was not cracked and parts that were in still good condition, to repair and restore the other 3 rifles. The C grade rifle that I received, again, ironically was the best of the 3 that were salvageable, but for ordering 7 rifles and getting 3 that could actually be fired is pretty bad statistically. And here's where things get even worse. So of the 7, the remaining two last rifles that I had not done anything with, so there were 3 that were unfixable, essentially, and there were 2 that ended up being good shooters, and there were 2 that ended up having to go back. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the last 2 rifles, when I received them, the barrels were completely loose in the receivers. They were over-tightened and over-timed, and if you know anything about how the barrels and receivers were mated together at the factory, it is a very tight fit, and if you end up with a barrel that loosens up over time, you cannot save it. The only thing you can do is rebarrel it for hundreds of dollars and hope that a competent gunsmith in your area knows what he's doing with an old rifle like that for head spacing, or you're just SOL. So starting in March, after receiving the last 3 rifles of the batch I was expecting, the 2 that ended up having loose barrels in the receivers, 100% could not be salvaged, used, or otherwise. I immediately threw them back in the box, took pictures, and emailed Royal Tiger Imports and asked them for an exchange. And it took them about a week to get back to me. I sent 4 emails back to back requesting them to look at my request, look at the videos, and please get back to me. I was told by what seems like the only person working as their customer service representative, I believe it's a woman, she said that They would look at it. However, the warehouse manager needed to be the one to verify it and be the one to approve the return. If that's how their internal process works, it is what it is. So I decided I would wait. Another week rolled by, still no return message, so I emailed them again. And she said they were still waiting on their warehouse manager. A third week rolled by, and at this point I was getting a little frustrated, and I asked them, hey, what's the deal? I've sent you all the proof you asked for. I've demonstrated that these rifles were received this way. I didn't wait after trying to fix them and then let you know, kind of a shifty, shady way of doing things. I just said straight up, hey, I'm not happy with how these came. I would like to exchange them. And she said, oh, I will be able to get a hold of the warehouse manager today and I'll have an answer for you in the morning. I said, okay, cool. That's some progress. I'm happy with that. Next day rolls around. I still get nothing. And I'm like, hey, what happened? You said you'd have a message for me. Oh, he left before I could get a hold of him. And I'm just thinking to myself, my goodness, this is really, really unprofessional. So I said, okay, can you get a hold of him today or find out from me before the weekend? She said, I will try. Again, another day rolled by and still no answer. I ended up having to wait an additional half a week till the following Monday to get a response back where they said, okay, here's your return labels, send the rifles back. Not wanting to belabor the point, I shipped them back right away. Another 2 weeks, they make it all the way to Florida where their warehouse is. And I email them to let them know, hey, the tracking says that you've gotten the rifles. When can I expect an update after you've opened them up to verify the contents and grabbed 2 rifles out of the stacks and stacks and stacks that you have, and hopefully I get lucky on, whatever I get in exchange for. I did specifically ask them for a number 1 Mark III complete, which was equal to the value of the 2 number 1 Mark III incompletes that I had purchased at $300. Each other rifle was $150, so $300 total. I figured that would be easier on them, which turned out to be not the case. They said that they would have to wait for the warehouse manager's approval. So I said, okay, I'll just wait. Another week rolled by, still no response. And another week rolled by, still no response. So I emailed them again and I said, hey, can I get something of an update on this, please? Like, I sent you the rifles. I am just waiting very patiently, I might add, almost 4 months after having made my initial order, just to get an exchange on these 2 rifles that just weren't up to the listing descriptions at all. To which point, basically, the conversation completely deteriorated and I ended up just asking for a refund. I was a little frustrated with how they were doing things, just the complete lack of care for my time as well as my money. And I ended up just telling them, hey, look, this is taking way too long. I would just like to get my money back for the 2 rifles that I ordered from you. And they said they had no idea why I was stating that it had taken too long and that they had, that's just their way of doing things and they've been doing it as fast as they can. A bunch of gaslighting rhetoric about how it's your fault and how you just need to be more patient. Granted, this had been over a month since I had requested the return on the 2 rifles, and I had just asked for an exchange initially. I didn't want a refund, and it ended up just ending up where I had to basically tell them, hey, look, if you don't get back to me in email, I'm going to have to talk to my bank and do a chargeback or get this ball rolling somehow to force your hand, because I spent well over $700 on just these 3 rifles, and between the shipping and the cost of the firearms, I'd like to get my investment back. And it just turned out to be a negative experience in that way. As such, I can honestly tell you right now that if you're looking at ordering from Royal Tiger Imports, I would tell you go somewhere else. Of the 9 rifles I ordered, I had probably a 50% casualty rate of rifles that were completely worthless that could not be salvaged. But there is some good news, and I do want to let you know that not everything is doom and gloom. If you just absolutely have to order one of the smoking hot deals that they have, because they do have some very, very, very attractive deals. The 2 number 4 Mark I rifles that I got, 100% made up for all the other drama that I endured. And I'll go ahead and show these to you right now. I have made a couple of shorts on these rifles, but I just want to try to convey through the camera as much as I can how I lucked out on these. These number 4 Mark Is came 100% complete, and they are just perfect with no pitting anywhere on them. Bright, crystal clear rifling. The sights flip up and down perfectly. No missing parts, no broken parts. They cycled good. I mean, as best as a situation as you could hope for. The only thing wrong with this particular one, this 1944 Long Branch, was a missing extractor spring. Do you know what? I'll take it. For a Long Branch in basically exceptional conditions, such as this one, with a complete, the sling attachment was missing in the front, but it's replaceable. The wood is in all perfect condition. The receiver had no pitting. The bolt was all there. The bolt race, the channel that the guide fits through, didn't have any major wear. It does have a little bit of a nick on it, but it's completely shootable. 100% this gun can be shot and can be used, and it is a rare one. And this, I did ask them for a Long Branch of the two number 4 Mark 1s. They said they were available. They said if you want one, ask for one and we'll do our best. They did give that to me. So thank you, Royal Tiger Imports. Not everything is bad. The second number 4 Mark 1 is probably, arguably, the better of the two. It is a 1963 RFI Ishapur. So this one is just 100% the workhorse of the Indian production rifles. The safety functioned flawlessly. I should mention on the Long Branch, the safety did not function. I do need to fix that. This one, on the other hand, the Indian-made one, literally has no problems. Like if I were to walk in to the CMP and grab one that they would consider to be a rack raid, this would be what you would get. This is Royal Tiger Imports B grade, but I'm going to call this a diamond in the rough because everything on this rifle was perfect. The receiver had all of its original bluing. The magazine was perfect. The wood was uncracked and undamaged. It didn't have any funky voodoo witchcraft Ethiopian weirdness on it. The bolt was 100% perfect. The head spacing was perfect. The bore looks like it was basically just a garrison gun. It was unshot, it looked like. Overall, I couldn't be more happy with this particular gun. These two alone are probably worth in today's market about $650 each. So you're talking about almost $1,200 to $1,300 in value, which I did invest well over $2,000. And I will say, if you are expecting to get a return on your investment with Royal Tiger Imports, go somewhere else. Legitimately go somewhere else. Unless they have just a crazy good deal on a Carcano or some rifle that you just feel like you can't live without and you feel like you're worth taking the risk on. I lucked out with these two number 4 Mark 1s, but your mileage may vary, and I cannot in good conscience recommend the basically gambling with guns that you're going to get when ordering from Royal Tiger Imports. Again, absolutely the most beautiful rifles of the bunch. In closing, to not belabor the point too much, because this is a lot of me just talking into a camera, and I'm sure you've tuned out at this point. But if you haven't, and I still have your attention, I would just say that if you are looking for surplus collectible firearms, your best bet is probably going to be in person at a gun show or at one of your local pawn shops or gun shops. A lot of the time you'll have these old boomer guys who just have these guns laying around their safe and they don't care about what they're worth, and they just take them in to pawn them for some quick cash for whatever reason, or they get heired to ungrateful grandchildren who have no idea what they are, and they take them and pawn them. And I have gotten lucky with a number of different guns that way. But that is hard to do. And if you don't have the time, and you do have time to look on your phone on the internet because it's just so much more expedient, there are a lot of other resources that I would direct your attention to. Again, the Reddit subforum for milsurp is a good place to go to get an idea of what is and isn't considered a quality source. Gunbroker is Gunbroker. Sometimes you can score a good deal. Sometimes people get had. But as far as Royal Tiger Imports is concerned, it's the FOMO. Don't get caught up in it. I purchased these guns specifically for making this video, and I will probably be selling 3/4 of everything minus the number 4 Mark 1s I will be keeping because they're just in such good condition. But overall, I would just tell you as a potential collector, save your money, go somewhere else. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. If you enjoyed the video and you had a similar experience, or you did not have that experience, you think I'm totally off base, and you love Royal Tiger Imports, I'd love to hear about your experience in the comments down below. If you have one of these guns and you have an experience, or you have a collector in your family, somebody who maybe had a breeding home or something cool, again, I'd like to hear about it down in the comments. If you liked the video, you liked the video. Subscribe if you feel I've earned it. I will see you guys in the very next video. See you later.